Every generation has its leaders. They fight for justice, set the latest trends, and inspire people around the globe. Now, thanks to social media, anyone can be a leader and have millions of followers. But do millennials have a go-to person? You know, someone they lean on to drive the generation? Hold on, we've got you covered. This is what I wish you knew about leadership in the millennial generation. Hey, I'm Zeppelin Tillman, and welcome to I Wish You Knew. Millennials are diverse. We have our own swag, our own culture, and even our own voice. We use our social platforms to stay connected and follow the people we look up to. But is there a unifying voice for millennials, or do we need the freedom to do our own thing? Here to tell you what they wish you knew are...
Hi, I'm Helen.
I'm Adam.
Hey everyone, I'm Mia Victory.
So panel, tell me, is there like one person or a group of people that you all think that we look up to when it comes to look for leadership?
Millennials don't operate like that.
Okay.
Okay, we need to do our own thing and set our own trends. There cannot be one person to carry that weight.
But why though? But like, why do you think it's like that? Are we the first generation to do that, or is this like a trend that's
I think we're the first generation to live the way we live, period. Like, we're the first generation to reach that threshold where we're hip to all the old school stuff and we had the internet. So we're the first ones living that lifestyle.
I feel it. What you think, Adam?
No, I totally agree. I mean, we have social media, which is awesome, and we're able to connect with people that we look up to on a pretty personal basis, which is pretty cool. You know, someone that I look up to a lot is Donald Glover. Okay. I think he is extremely
ATL,
talented.
Atlanta,
Community. Started writing on 30 Rock at 23. I mean, like, he's just supremely
Writer,
talented.
producer, he's awesome.
And he's an artist. He's Childish Gambino.
He's a rapper.
Spoiler alert. Sorry if I ruined everything. I ruined the mystery for everyone.
Okay. Tell me what you think. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we're like the first generation to have like different leaders, but definitely like, you know, it's just so hard to have like one person define an entire generation no matter what.
Yeah,
sure.
So
like, you can't really define our generation by one singular voice the way that you could have possibly done in the past. When it comes to though, like you know, fighting, you know, social justice or like political issues and things like that, though, do you think it may be important to have a central unifying voice, or is it cool to have, you know, Twitter opinions like kind of going off? Like, how do you all feel we move forward when it comes to social justice sorts of things?
I mean, even within like the civil rights movement, there wasn't one unifying voice.
That's a good point.
And a lot of the reasons why people focus so much on Martin Luther King is because, I mean, it's just, I think it's kind of lazy to just focus on one person. There were the Black Panthers, there was SNCC, there was Malcolm X, and like we just don't teach it to like people in our school systems, but it wasn't one voice back then either.
It's a valid point.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I think Emma Watson's just another person, especially on the, you know, advocacy side. I mean, the work that she does with the UN, you know, it's really great. And again, our, you know, millennial leader, they might not need to, you know, to go into politics per se, but, you know, I think right now with the you know, with the electoral map of the millennials with our generation, clearly, you know, we have more of a liberal voice.
We're pulling the weight.
What are some traits what traits do you all think define a leader for like a millennial? Like, so I heard you all give some names, but like what about them actually is like, oh yeah, they're a leader, like we look up to them?
Taking something we do or might look over and turning it into a business. Seeing a void in your community, filling that. I think a lot of it is using the platform that you have. You have people with all of these followers and things on social media, but if you would just sort of use that voice, you could be pushing social, anything.
So I think it's using that platform, but it's not pounding your chest. It's remaining humble and being willing to, you know, put in the work, but not, you know, not be so vain as a lot of people in our generation are guilty of.
Absolutely.
You know, especially on social media.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because, you know, we also look at martyrs or people who have died, you know, kind of before we were born, like as leaders. I think we look to them, you know, as well. What do you all think it is about, you know, our admiration or looking to, you know, people like Tupac, for instance, right, who like we look at like as prophets, or, you know, people like Nelson Mandela, you know, why do you think that we also look to them as well, you know, as leadership?
I'm glad Tupac and Nelson Mandela were in the same sentence. I think that's awesome.
But as a millennial, like, that's like, I feel like you could have a conversation that'd be like a real thing.
I think the art and the wisdom left behind.
Okay.
I mean, it's timeless. You
That's
can
right.
always refer back to it. What do you think?
Well, I was gonna say either, what's it called, die a hero or live long enough to yourself.
To become a villain.
Become a villain.
Dark Knight.
Batman,
Maybe that's why.
that sort of piece right there, right?
What do y'all think about like the public figures you look to, like having some type of say about what's going on?
What do you mean?
Like celebrity.
Yeah, like a rapper. Would you want
yeah.
your favorite rapper to comment on political like situations and issues going on right now, or would you want them to just?
No, they definitely should.
I would like him to, but it's not expected. I would like him or her, you know, to do that, but it's not necessarily expected.
Right.
You know, for example, during, you know, any of the award shows, I mean, for, you know, take the Grammys, for example, when Meryl Streep gave her speech,
That's right.
you know, condemning the Trump administration, you know, my roommate, for example, was like, you know, she's an actress, this is not her place to talk, you know, she's abusing the platform, but you know, for me, that's like, I think that's crazy because she's using her platform, you know, for her own goal, for her own mission, and I think that's pretty empowering.
Yeah, no, I think it's important that, you know, like with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Sure.
Like I think that if you do have a platform and you are educated or knowledgeable, there's no reason why you should kind of stay silent about that sort of thing. But we have to break. So first, it's trivia time. Who is the U.S. political leader who became popular among millennials during the 2016 campaign season? Welcome back to I Wish You Knew. So actually, I have an interesting question for you all. Do you all feel like, as an artist, so whether that's like an actor or a musician or that sort of thing, you know, sometimes they get criticized for not using their voice, but then they may like put it in their art. Do you all feel like you should be more apt to kind of putting it in your art, or should you like, you know, be more vocal about it, like on your platforms? How do you all feel kind of?
I agree with that 1,000%.
Okay.
I feel like that's the way millennials can like just continue to influence everybody.
Yeah.
We don't need to follow one person because we do have that freedom.
I think that if you're going to talk about, you know, social justice issues in, you know, a rap song, a rock song, in whatever, you know, medium you have, I think it's also kind of your personal responsibility to then advocate for that, you know, outside of the studio.
In your voice.
In your voice, exactly.
Gotcha.
You know, but then again, if you're not, you know, talking about that and you still want to, you know, you still want to advocate it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, that's, you know, that's great.
Okay. What are some qualities or some traits that you think, like, as millennials, we can start to, you know, to use to really, you know, make ourselves look like leaders, or to be more so like leaders?
I mean, I've heard so many times from, you know, different networking forums that people in our generation, millennials, were so self-centered, and that we, you know, we go into jobs and we expect immediate results, and we, you know, we're not patient at all. I think that, you know, being patient and, you know, just being willing to put in the work is really big. And I think that our generation, we are hardworking. It's just a matter of, you know, us having patience. I think so.
And even let's just kind of start from like the base of it, right? Like, what is a leader? Like, what does leadership actually mean to a millennial? Like, what does it mean to you all?
I think it's been the same with like whatever generation. It's someone who has good social skills, which is like, you just have to have that. And then just someone who has a vision for what you want in the future, like an actual concrete vision. I think people are starting to fill the shoes, and it's just naturally happening. And like when you like, when you're in a club and like the president like leaves, like people just like grow into it. It just happens.
Well, I was just going to say, I think a leader is someone that just like really follows their own intuition and translate that into business, art, whatever.
Right.
One of the leaders I think we have in our area, her name is Randy Gloss, and she uses art to express social advocacy for different issues going on. Gotcha. She has a clothing brand and she uses that. So the answer to your question, I do think using art will help us to reflect just as a generation to be better leaders.
Nah, that's real. One of the things that I notice even with social media is that, we can be extremely opinionated, right? How do you all feel like we embrace leaders, or are we could we be too quick to kind of, jump on somebody's back on social media because they may not say something that we want to do something, right? It's like we're very quick to judge. So do we embrace leaders the way that maybe past generations have, because we have so much, access and free will? I can just at you right now and, kind of get on you. Like, how do you?
Sure. I mean, there's always going to be like internet trolls. Like that's just never going to go away.
Okay.
They didn't have that, 50 years ago.
They
but
definitely did.
I mean, not in the same way is what I'm trying to say. And I think that the big difference, agreeing with Helen earlier is, we're looking for the same qualities of leaders. The difference now is that we expect them to present themselves in a professional way, on social media and in public, because the cameras are always rolling now.
That's the thing.
I think that in turn makes them not want to share so much and not be so open about the way they feel because we're so quick to pounce on them.
Yeah, and it's like a world where literally TMZ is always there. Somebody's iPhone is always there, and it almost forces you to be perfect to where maybe you're like, I don't really want to take this role because now I'm expected to be a role model or a leader in every aspect of my, of my life. So it's almost like, we have these high expectations, but then the moment something happens, it's like we're quick to, to pounce on them. So it's like, where's that, self-awareness as millennials? Like, where do we give them that balance as well? Because I'm sure some of the people you named, earlier, they definitely had their things they didn't want public. It's just that,
but it was publicized. Like the FBI, like constantly like spread rumors that like MLK was having an affair. Like
that's true, but those tapes weren't like released though. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to spread a rumor. It's another thing to like be on World Star or something, right? Like it's
MLK on World Star.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like imagine what that would have done if there was like a leaked audio of Martin Luther King talking to, somebody who wasn't credited.
On a hot mic, Access Hollywood.
I mean, people would be ready to discredit him.
So I feel like as millennials, we sometimes can do that, like discredit the people who are actually put forth as, leaders. So, I think that appreciation. But more on millennial leaders when we return. So welcome back to I Wish You Knew. Let's just go ahead and continue this conversation. Moving forward, where do you feel like, our generation is going to be able to stand when you talk about legacy in regards to leaders? Are we going to be producing, people that are in history books and, people that are like really revered the way that we've had past generations kind of, looked up to?
Yeah, because there's Nazis on the streets right now, and someone has to stand up to them.
By punching them, right?
By punching them.
Yeah, it's crazy. No,
but I mean, if it doesn't happen, we're just all gonna die.
Okay. I mean, that was a great clip. I mean, we're going to obviously stand up for our rights and, get behind leaders that we can really agree with. It's just about, like we kind of mentioned earlier, who is going to, stand up when we live in this world where TMZ follows them to the bathroom everywhere. Like, it seems pretty limiting for them, but it's not. We're not just talking about the super celebrity Robert Downey Jr. class. It's all about us and our generation. What can we do?
what are like some topics that you all think we need leadership for? So we can historically look and say, okay, in the 60s, it might have been civil rights. In the 70s, they were protesting Vietnam. In the 80s, something else. In the 90s, right? What right now are some of those big things that you think like, okay, there needs to be a leader for this, or like there should be leadership in this area?
Unity.
What'd you say?
Unity.
Okay.
We need a unifying people or persons.
Okay.
I'm gonna say plural because we already said one person can't do it, but I think that's important.
Yeah.
There's
For
so
what
much.
topics though? Like what are those areas that you think we need that in?
One issue that comes to mind for me is gun control.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a huge gun control advocate.
Gotcha.
Just because it's unbelievable how people have distorted the language of the Second Amendment, for so many years now, and you can buy semi-automatic weapons, at Walmart without a background check.
People are building them as well. And
there's only 11 states that require background checks right now, and that's pretty crazy because you have all these different bans that Donald Trump has enacted, but.
So gun control is definitely one thing. Are there other things that you?
Just everything. Everything is important. And then there's going to be leaders for every individual issue. So like gun control, environmentalism, labor, Planned Parenthood, like everything.
Okay.
Everything's gone.
Let's start with, kind of bring it home. What are some things that you all feel like we can do in our own communities in order to begin to assert ourselves as leaders? Like really like tangible things, like, we could do this, we could do that. Like, it doesn't have to be like you have to go, save a cat off a building, or something like super heroic, but like what is
helping a woman cross the old woman crossing the street?
Well, recently I've been doing a lot of research in the food we eat and where we buy, what's available to us in our communities. I think growing your own produce. I'm going to start this year,
so cool.
And I plan to just really incorporate. Just us shopping less, doing that, just being better, living better. I think people need to, like you said, tangible. I'm literally gonna grow some things, and we can do that in all industries.
Okay. What do you think? What are some things that you're committing yourself to do?
I don't know, but just looking at groups that are most under attack, and just protecting the most vulnerable. So like in any community, if it's like the homeless or like people who are constantly getting criminalized, because that's the net, and you want to make the net as high as possible.
Standing up for people that can't stand up for themselves.
Absolutely.
No, that's great. Personally, I want to be a part of, this resistance movement against the current administration. And for people that are also interested, in our generation about getting involved, there's a great website called Swing Left, and it's pretty much designed to help out with swing districts. Wow. So that way in the upcoming midterm election in 2018, we can take back the House.
2017. We have a governor's race in 2017.
One of the things that I heard each one of you say is that you did research, you read, you educated yourself. I think that's a huge place to start, is that everybody can pick up a book. Everybody can, if you don't like to read, go watch a video on YouTube, right?
Documentaries, they're great.
Yeah.
Go begin to educate yourself on what's kind of going on in the world you live in, and I think that's like a great, kind of start. But that's all the time that, we have for this edition of I Wish You Knew. Thank you so much for watching. Before we go, panel, the answer to the trivia question is...
Ted Cruz? Just kidding. Senator Bernie Sanders.
Senator Bernie Sanders. Tell me, y'all still feeling the burn? Y'all still feeling the burn?
Yeah, always got love for burn.
There we go. Right here.
Alright, this is pretty funny. So